There's no LAN cable, there's no Wi-Fi receiver, it's an old desktop. And the Wi-Fi is working through a phone. Let's learn how to do this. Welcome back to GyanShare, a show where you and I learn and we share it further, because knowledge is meant to be shared. Have you ever been in a situation where you have an old laptop but its Wi-Fi isn't working? Maybe it doesn't even have a LAN connector. Or you have an old desktop and it just kept a little too far away from the Wi-Fi router and you can't bother to buy a long Ethernet cable just for one single update of the internet. I have a solution for you. Well, a bunch of solutions actually. You see, in this video, I'm not just talking about the one solution mentioned in the title and the thumbnail. I'd also be talking about a bunch of other ways you can share your internet to your computer via just a phone. So yeah, you've been clickbaited, but the other way around. Here are the timestamps for each of the solutions so you can jump to the one that you're interested in or watch the whole video to learn about all of them. I'm trying this new chapter markers thing on YouTube, so you can just hover over the timeline and jump to the part of the video that you want to watch. Pretty cool. Anyway, so let's start with the thing that you actually clicked for. A lot of motherboards to this day don't have built-in Wi-Fi. So you either have to plug in something like this into the motherboard, or you have to use a LAN cable, or you can actually use something like this, which is also a Wi-Fi adapter. But what if you don't need this? You can just use your phone instead of this. So that's the solution we're talking about here. You'd be surprised how old this solution is. Some versions of it actually existed like a decade ago on Android. Today, however, it's not just limited to Android, it's also an option on iOS, and I'll leave a link down below on how to enable this on iOS, since we'll be using an Android phone for this video. Alright, so first things first, we have to make sure we have a phone connected via a cable to the computer that needs the internet connection. Second, we need to make sure that the phone is connected to the desired Wi-Fi network. And all you have to do then is to go into the settings and search for the USB tethering option. Every Android phone has a little bit different version of it, but it's almost always named USB Tethering, so searching is probably your best bet. Now enable this particular USB tethering option and wait for 5 to 10 seconds, and voila! You're now connected to the Wi-Fi network and you're using your phone as a Wi-Fi adapter. This will work on almost all Windows and macOS out of the box, but it can actually technically also work with Linux. But since it requires a USB tethering driver, which can or cannot exist on your distribution, so your mileage will vary. Something to keep in mind though. It's probably a good idea to turn off your mobile data, since some of the phones, not every phone, but some phones, even though they're connected to Wi-Fi, start using mobile data when Wi-Fi signal is low. So to prevent this, it's probably a good idea to turn your mobile data off. And while we're talking about mobile data, if you're not connected to Wi-Fi and turn on USB tethering, you'll be sharing your cellular data, which is your 4G or 5G, to your computer, which basically converts your phone into a dongle. And it's a great option if you're traveling and your laptop's Wi-Fi for some reason stops working, or you want an option that consumes lesser battery than using a Wi-Fi hotspot. So that's why I call this method tethered hotspot. And talking about hotspots, let's talk about the most commonly used method of sharing internet to your computer. Wireless hotspot. You must have heard this term. This actually just means converting your mobile internet into a Wi-Fi router. If you haven't tried it, it's pretty damn simple. Make sure your mobile data is on, go into your settings and search for hotspot. Turn on your Wi-Fi hotspot toggle and any device will be able to connect to your phone just like any other Wi-Fi network, and will be able to utilize your phone's cellular data, which is your 4G or 5G, as a Wi-Fi network. This feature is so common that most of the new Android skins or device manufacturers put it as a quick toggle when you swipe down from the top, and you can just turn your hotspot on or off from right there. Now it's important to note, while the hotspot is on, usually the phone will turn your Wi-Fi off, but in some phones it doesn't, which brings me to the next method. Now this particular function isn't available on all Android devices, probably because it's the newest of them all, but it's definitely available on Realme, OnePlus, Xiaomi and Poco phones out of the box. It also works on some Samsung phones in a certain manner that we'll talk about later. Now, if your phone is neither of these brands and you still want to use this feature, it's called Wi-Fi Extend, and I'll leave a link down below on how to enable it if it isn't already enabled on your device. I can't guarantee it will work, but you can definitely give it a try. Anyway, so basically what it is that if you turn your Wi-Fi hotspot on while you're connected to a Wi-Fi network, it'll just enable you to extend your Wi-Fi's range, essentially converting your phone into a Wi-Fi extender. Now, as I said, it'll work on the brands I mentioned before out of the box. You don't need to do anything special about it. Just turn on your Wi-Fi hotspot while you're connected to Wi-Fi. But in a Samsung phone, you'll also need to do one more thing, which is toggle another switch called Wi-Fi sharing, and that'll do the job. Now again, just like before, it's probably a good idea to keep your mobile data off while doing this, since if the Wi-Fi strength is low, some phones, not all phones, but some phones can jump off to mobile internet, which probably isn't a good idea. Talking about not a good idea, let's finally talk about the last method of sharing your internet to other devices. Many people don't know this, but this is one of the oldest methods of sharing an internet connection from a phone to any other device, and I hardly see anyone using it today, probably because of Bluetooth speed limitations, which is about 1 or 2 megabits at the highest end. But if you quickly just need to send a few messages or Google something and nothing else is working out, this does work. This concept is exactly the same as Wi-Fi hotspot, except it uses Bluetooth. So it's usually just called as a Bluetooth hotspot, and all you need to do to use it is to enable it in the settings, and it'll share your internet connection with all the connected devices. So that's it. Those are the various ways you can use your phone to share your internet connection to any other device like a PC, Mac, a phone, or a tablet. All these techniques might not be a permanent substitute to having a Wi-Fi router at home, but it has proved to be extremely useful to know all these techniques when you're stuck in situations without internet and you have a phone lying around. Hope you liked this video. If you did, I'd urge you to press the subscribe button down below and a like button down below, and maybe share this video with your friends who might learn something new. Alright then, I'll see you next week. Keep sharing, keep learning.